This video is part 2 in a 2-part series on every faction re-explained. If you've not seen part 1, you were either snatched by the YouTube algorithm, or you don't let anything, not even common sense, hold you back. And for that, well,
I have no common sense.
I wish I could be that strong. The quest to find the Primarchs was expansive and treacherous, to the point where they really should write a book about it. Despite never seeing the Emperor before in their lives, the Primarchs all instinctively knew who the Emperor was. Whether it's his psychic connection to him or just plain old intuition, the giant golden god is a bit of a giveaway. The Primarchs all lived their own lives, and some lived substantially better lives than others.
Wait, it says at the corner, "Hey gamers, editor here. Somehow Richard managed to record Discord notifications into his voiceover. There are only a few. Don't worry, just didn't want y'all to be confused." Oh, okay. He's Richard now?
Rabute Gilliman of the Ultramarines rose through the ranks of his worlds and ended up turning an entire sector into a high-functioning society, where others, like Mortarion, lived on the poisonous hellscape of Barbarous under the boot heel of his own adopted father. When the Emperor arrived, some wanted to play a little bit of catch with their dad at first, and some didn't trust the baseball bat he was carrying, and some didn't want to play at all. Eventually, one by one, the Emperor returned his sons to his side to bring them back together as one happy family. A family who needed a good cleaning. Are you tired of boring old soap? Is your son the foulest being ever? Do your eyes sting when he comes near? Well, clean that man right back up with the power of Cheeky. That's right, the brand new moisturizing bar soap brought to you by Moist Critical and Bricky approved. Nurgle hates it, but you'll love it.
I'm not gonna lie. This is probably one of the best this is probably one of the best products to shill, considering I just want to say I feel like a lot of the niche hobbies have followers of Nurgle. That's what we'll call it. Followers of Nurgle. So this makes perfect sense. This makes so much perfect sense, right?
Our soap is always so sticky and has a ton of fuss, but now you'll be glowing to the surprise of Lehman Russ. Cheeky soap is so good, we didn't even take a down payment for the sponsor.
Damn.
That's right, we love this soap so much, we are operating on 100% commission. We are supported purely and only by those of you who buy Cheeky. It is the best bar soap we have ever used.
Okay.
That is not a hyperbole. Your satisfaction is guaranteed.
Okay, I don't use bar soap, but maybe I'll buy one just to wash my hands with. Not him though. Use it on your cheeks. Can someone buy this and use it specifically on your cheeks, and then give us an actual review? Thank you. Yeah.
Take it from the man himself.
Bricky's right. It's very good.
Enjoy a multitude of flavors, including lo-fi lavender, pulp Francis, just soap, touch grass, and absolute cinnamon. Cheeky alone has made me swap back to bar soap as my primary choice. No more liquid soap for this brick. Cheeky is the play. Go ahead and go to usecheeky.com/Bricky or code Bricky for 10% off your purchase and domestically support these videos. That's code Bricky at usecheeky.com/Bricky or click the link in the description to learn more. Get clean now.
Guys, should we get the touch grass one? This is literally, oh my god, this is chat, this is you, this is actually you, this is literally you. I'm sorry guys, this is you. This is 100% you. Every time I look down at the floor, it's so ridiculous, I keep fucking laughing. Oh my fucking god, it's literally you guys.
Oh yeah, so half his sons turned on him. After the Emperor was able to bring all of his sons back into the fold again, he sent them on their way with his end goal in mind, reclaiming the lost worlds of humanity. Each of his Primarchs fanned out across the galaxy to accomplish this goal, but the one they were expected to report to was his favored son, and the first one found, allegedly, which was Horus. Horus was granted the title of War Master, and he certainly lived up to Big E's expectations, which were very specific and set by Big E himself to all of his sons. However, either intentionally or not, the Emperor did not mention to his sons some of the more chaotic aspects of the galaxy. Horus himself, while in the process of reclaiming a more advanced human world, was informed of the existence of chaos gods, a factoid that Horus initially did not believe. To him, it was a bit unfathomable to think that his father would omit such significant information on the inner workings of the galaxy. However, he soon realized this was the truth, and this betrayal was unacceptable. With the astronomical weight put on his shoulders and his father immediately leaving it all in his hands, combined with the slow corruption of his mind by those closest to him, he began to change his tune. Horus began amassing a following behind his father's back with several other Primarchs and began to formulate plans to usurp him from his throne on Terra. While this was occurring, Magnus the Red tried to FaceTime his dad back on Terra, and that resulted in the shattering of a protective barrier between Terra and the demons of the warp. Due to this damage, the Emperor—
I'm not gonna lie, when he said it like that, I was like, holy shit, you're so right. Magnus totally did try to like FaceTime Big E, right? Like when he puts it like that, I'm like, oh, wait, he's kind of cooking. Holy shit, is Horus a red flag? Horus is a red flag. We cannot fix him. Chat, don't try to fuck Horus. You cannot fix him. Horus cannot be fixed.
The Emperor was forced to sit on the Golden Throne to assure that it would continue to function. Ultimately, half of the Primarchs would fall to chaos, and the remaining half would fight back viciously against their brothers. Horus eventually gained the upper hand and arrived in orbit above Terra itself, and after antagonizing his father enough, the Emperor temporarily removed himself from the throne, strategically putting his old friend there as a seat warmer, and went to confront Horus himself on the Vengeful Spirit, his flagship. The Emperor faced down his son, and after a heated battle and 64 novels, the Emperor managed to obliterate Horus on a subatomic level, but not before his favorite son was able to mortally wound the Emperor. As the dust settled and the traitors fled from Terra, the Emperor's body was dragged back onto the Golden Throne, where it sits permanently to assure that it continues to function. A corpse forced to constantly hold back the horrors of the warp and guide humanity with his pale light. And that light is flickering. From there, the remaining members of the traitors to the Emperor fled to their respective safe havens.
Can I get an 07 in the chat for Sanguinius? Holy shit, wait. Just thinking about like Horus killing Sanguinius has given me like fucking trauma. Have you guys seen that one meme of that like one dog? And then he looks like he went through like a war? That's like me right now. Oh my god, no! 07 to her angel boy. Wait, okay, I'm not gonna lie, this is actually why I love Bricky so much. Like, the way he put it, like Magnus was trying to FaceTime Big E to let him know about Horus's betrayal, and that punch a hole in the warp. Like, that makes so much more sense. Like, when you dumb it down like that, I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes a ton of sense, you know? I kind of love that. I actually kind of love that. He was too good for this world. Sanguinius, my boy. Yeah, Magnus totally done goofed. And like, but also he had good intention, but still. Yeah, it makes it way more digestible, even if it's like not necessarily like accurate. It's just that like if I'm a normie, you know, like if I'm just someone like, okay, how would you explain Warhammer to your girlfriend who doesn't understand Warhammer? You know? Magnus was too proud to admit the warp was dangerous. I think that's the issue though with all of them, right? They're just too proud to like admit to like anything, you know? Yeah, the road to hell is covered in good intentions. Exactly. So, it do be like that though. It really do be like that.
These are the veterans of the Long War, the spiteful, and to them, the wronged. Those who would let the galaxy burn if it means the Imperium gets caught in the flames. These are the
Chaos Space Marines!
And what are the achievements of your fragile Imperium? It is a corpse rotting slowly from within while maggots writhe in its belly. It was built with the toil of heroes and giants, and now it is inhabited by frightened weaklings to whom the glories of those times are half-forgotten legends. I have forgotten nothing, and my wisdom has expanded far beyond mere mortal frailties. The Horus Heresy.
Wait, hold up. I kind of want to go back to the quote real quick, because, like, what the fuck? I like Bricky's videos. He makes it easy to understand, whereas many other spec level understanding newbies just aren't gonna have. Starting with him to me is the best intro. I agree 100%. No matter what anyone says, I do like fully agree that Bricky has like the most like digestible content. I don't know if I could like realistically, let's say if I had a girlfriend, okay? Let's say if I were a man, I had a girlfriend. Could I have her sit next to me and watch a 1.5 hour video about Warhammer? I don't know. As a content creator, watching Bricky videos to do react content to, shit, this is fire. This is hella fire. But I don't know if I could make my girlfriend, like my partner, like girlfriend and or boyfriend, like sit there and watch a 1 hour video with me. You know what I mean? To be honest, right, I do feel like one of the easiest like ways to get someone into the Warhammer universe is to buy them Space Marines too. And be all like, hey, you wanna play with me? You know, I honestly do think that this is like, that's probably one of the best ways to get someone into Warhammer. It wouldn't be like, oh yeah, let's watch a video about this topic that you may or may not know, you know, anything about, right? We'll just play the video, and if you're still interested in the lore, hey, you wanna watch a 1 hour video with me? Hell yeah, let's go, you know? A lot of different games. No, just Space Marines 2. Because, like, I feel like Space Marines 2 is one of the more normie coded games, okay? I feel like you could reasonably scam someone into playing Space Marines with you and then be like, hey, wasn't the story, like, really cool? By the way, did you know that they have lore? And then you slide them, like, a video or two to watch.
My wisdom has expanded far beyond mere mortal frailty.
Imagine going to like a guy's house and he's got this like framed like right above his bed. What would you do? I think like that's a red flag and you run. On God, this is like a red flag and you run.
The Horus Heresy saw the collapse of the Imperium as we knew it at the time, and half of the Space Marine legions fell to the ruinous powers. Though the favored son, War Master Horus, was killed and the rebellion ended, the heretical forces retreated to the warp and remain a constant threat to this day. The twisted reminder of what the temptations of the warp may bring, the Chaos Space Marines act as a mirror to the loyal legions, and as time progresses, their warp taint further changes them to suit the needs of their patron deity. Though marred and absolutely mangled by the ruinous powers, they are still unmistakably Space Marines in stature and shape, and according to them, they have never been more free.
Can I be real? I'd hate the Chaos Space Marines a little more if they didn't look so fucking cool, okay? Like, honestly, if they looked a little worse, I'd probably, like, you know, if they look like generic, like, Space Marines, I'd be like, oh yeah, you know, they're like, whatever. But the fact that they look cool kind of makes me, like them a little bit more, and yeah, right? If evil, why cool? Like, unbased. No way. I can't believe it. Like, if they didn't look so cool. Oh man, I think we've fallen back into the whole if evil, why hot fallacy. So does this mean we fall for like red flags, guys? I don't even know.
After the heresy, the loyal legions of Space Marines became very strict in their organization, and their separation into separate chapters with capped numbers and other formalities was done to prevent any form of heresy from happening again. The Chaos Space Marines are a bit different. Ultimately, these Marines are subject to the primary legions that fell to Chaos in the first place. The majority of these legions, the Black Legion, the Word Bearers, Iron Warriors, Alpha Legion, and the Night Lords, are supporters of Chaos undivided, either enjoying the powers of all Chaos gods or sometimes shunning them altogether. But a few of them follow a very specific Chaos god. Thousand Sons are followers of Zeech, the Death Guard follows Nurgle, Slaanesh has their claws in the Emperor's Children, and the World Eaters are avid followers of Khorne. From there, the legions themselves are separated into roaming war bands that may go under their own unique names or may stake a claim to one of the primary legions. Most of the gear and armor of a Chaos Space Marine remains the same, but stylistically it changes quite a bit to
It's
reflect
so
the intention
cool.
of the Legion or their patron god. The Death Guard's armor has become rotted and full of gaping mouths and plague-filled boils. The World Eater's sharp and violent armor reflects their bloodthirst, and the chaotic noise of the Emperor's Children armor, nipple rings included,
Not
pleases
you.
Slaanesh greatly. Due to the taint of chaos, the armor itself becomes
Wait.
less about plating and more about a new skin for any given chaos space.
Did he say nipple rings? Or am I like, or did I hallucinate that bit? Did he say nipple rings? Huh? What? He did? Oh, I didn't. They have nipple rings, chat. I didn't know that. Fuck. How does that work? Considering you're wearing armor, do you even have nipples on armor? How do you do that? Wait, huh? Don't ask? Oh, okay. Sure, guys. I'm not gonna ask. What the heck? Remember Batnip, like the Batman one? What the hell? Okay, never mind. I take it back. Okay, cool. Ooh.
Space Marine. Though the Chaos Space Marines have no true fear of death or numbers diminishing, there are still major recruitment efforts for their legions. However, the conscription of these recruits is a lot more chaos-fueled and is more of a forced assimilation, and in some instances, breeding. The organ implementations and other modifications are the same, and the necessity of a gene seed remains the same, but the result is a hell of a lot different. Understanding Chaos Space Marines is a difficult exercise. If we took my original video 5 years back and looked at the Imperial Knights section, it mainly focuses on big stompy robots. Now that I understand more, I can discuss the Code Chivalric, the Throne Mechanicum, Squires, and Monarchs, and bring some more context to it all. To assume Chaos Space Marines are simply the opposite side of Space Marines would be foolish, for once you understand the plight of their Primarchs, it can provide a context always needed. Horus himself turned through an overwhelming weight on his shoulders and lies told by his father. But what of Angron? Angron lived as a slave gladiator for his planet's masters, who took Dark Age technology and shoved it into his brain, so experiencing any emotion other than rage was agony for him. He finally leads a revolt for his fellow gladiators and frees himself from the confines of servitude. The Emperor finds him and says he will take him home, but Angron refuses. He will fight with his friends
He's just an
against
angry
the tyranny
boy.
of his slave owners to the last. At the final last stand with him and his closest friends, slave gladiators, all of them outnumbered and on the verge of death, the Emperor forcefully teleports Angron to his flagship and none of his compatriots, leaving Angron to live and watch all of his friends die. You kept that mule core Pharaon. Russ kept his kin friends. The Lion kept Luther. Humans, brothers, and foster fathers, saved and raised into Legion ranks. But not me. Not Angron, no. Did the Emperor teleport his gold-wrapped custodians down to help me in my army? No. Did he free the warhounds and order them to battle? Fight alongside me? No. Did he save my brothers and sisters the way he spared and honored the Lion's kin? The way he honored Cor Pharaon? No, no, and no. No mercy for Angron, Angron the Oathbreaker, Angron the Betrayer. Conrad Kurz lived as a lonely boy, scrounging the dregs of a hive city plagued by constant visions of an assassin sent to murder him by his own father. Lorgar was born on a world of chaos worshippers with abusive parents, and the Emperor decided the best way to reprimand him was destroy his holy city. The Emperor robbed Mortarion of vengeance and suppressed Magnus at every turn. The question isn't why the Primarchs rebelled. The question is, why didn't they sooner? To them, they are not the betrayers. They are the betrayed. They were under the boot of a golden tyrant, and they finally could be free from his heel. Of course, things have changed a lot since the heresy, and the Primarchs of the Chaos Space Marines that have survived the fall are a twisted variant of what they used to be.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, it does make so much sense why they turned. Like, honestly, it makes, like, way too much sense why they turned, you know? Because, like, I don't know. I feel like, to me, Angron made the most sense, like why he would like turn on the Emperor, right? Like Angron to me just made like the most sense. It'd be like, yeah, you know what, understandable, have a nice day, go off king, live your like angry life. Poor guy. He skipped Fulgrim, he did. It's okay. We will talk about Fulgrim later.
They have all, for the most part, ascended to the position of Demon Prince and act as a direct connection between their god and their legion. However, due to the nature of the transformation and dedication to a particular chaos god, their actions tend to be separate from their legion's actions. Fulgrim, for example, is so infatuated with being a Demon Prince of Slaanesh that he is at times far too focused on his own personal perfection as opposed to conquest and sitting around like Frankfurter on his throne. Meanwhile, Lorgar is being stalked by a bird, so he's always on edge.
Wait, can someone expand on that? What do you mean Lorgar is being stalked by a bird? Wait, that's so funny. Oh, because he's getting spawn camped by Crow. You're right. I forgot about that bit. Wait, I forgot. Wait, that's so funny. No, I love it. Oh my god, I love that. Like Crow is basically spawn camping him. Like, that just makes me love Crow like us like so much. Like, you have no idea. Holy shit.
Most adamant against the temptations of the Chaos Gods, Perturabo was even made a Demon Prince as a reward for being the one who did the most work on the group project.
Yay!
Chaos Space Marines are a
Turbo.
fascinating faction because there is a great deal of cognitive dissonance that is represented in them. Depending on which faction you follow, your devotion to chaos is a sliding scale, and the representation in the universe is so varied. Some are there to reap a high tally of kills for their patron deity, while others are there purely to destroy the Imperium who wronged them. Some are there to torture and maim, and some are there to conquest and conquer. There is no unifying glue. They fight each other as much as they fight everyone else, and their machinations are entirely up to their warband. You have all walked different paths, but together we have come to the same destination. The Emperor has failed us. The Imperium has failed us all. It has failed us by the laxity of its laws, the decadence of its culture, and in the injustices heaped upon those of us who serve the most loyally. It has failed us by never recognizing our virtues, never rewarding us for the blood we shed and bringing about its ascendancy, and never providing unity when we needed it most. It has failed us by being flawed to its core, imperfect in its pursuit of a perfect culture, and in its weakness against the encroachment of Xenos, breeds that seek to twist humanity to alien ends. And
I hate that this is making so much sense to me right
now. By
now.
being founded upon lies. The Imperium is forged by a dangerous deceit and erodes us all by demanding we sacrifice truth on the altar of necessity. This is an empire propagated by sin that deserves to die. And here on Istvan V, we begin the purge. From these ashes shall rise the new kingdom of mankind, an Imperium of justice, faith, and enlightenment, an Imperium heralded, commanded, and protected by the avatars of the gods themselves, an empire strong enough to stand through a future of blood and fire. Naturally, however, as I have said before, Space Marines do not make up the bulk of the fighting force in the Imperium, so it would be ludicrous for me to not mention their dark cousins. The Code Chivalry is the sign of the power of the Imperial Knights.
Oh?
But what about the
Dark Mechanicum?
The ruinous powers claimed during the Horus Heresy extended beyond just the Space Marines and the
Guys, am I drinking the Chaos Aid right now? Why am I sitting here going, oh, actually Chaos kind of had a point. I'm just sat here like, oh yeah, okay, maybe they were right. Maybe they were somewhat right. Oh. No, what the fuck? Miss Commissar, thank you so much for the super chat. Fun fact about the Chaos fighting themselves. There's a warband called the Sons of Malice who kill everything and worship a minor Chaos god called Malice. They also like eating people. They what? Guys, this is so bad. I just want you guys to know your streamer does fall for propaganda very frequently. So, yeah. so literally, yeah, guys, we're drinking the Chaos Space Aid right now. Horse Arch is not cannibalism. You know, it's like cannibalism light, I'd say. I would say it's like cannibalism light. That's what corpse starch is. You know, you're pink, you're a heretic. I'm black and pink. I have like, oh my god, I am a heretic. Holy shit.
Mars itself was subject to a revolution that saw half of them fall to chaos as well. And some of the once loyal night houses saw themselves swearing fealty to the dark gods. The falling of these factions allows for the war machine of chaos to continue uninterrupted and to have firepower equal to that of the Imperium itself. The Dark Mechanicum, as the name suggests, is the chaos-affiliated branch of the Mechanicus, and have a lot more free reign, much like the freedoms of the Chaos Space Marines. The seeds of the Dark Mechanicum were planted fairly early due to some of the Mechanicum not really seeing the Emperor as the Omnissiah immediately, and Horus exploited this to allow the schism to happen a bit more naturally. Unlike their Imperial brothers, the Dark Mechanicum have the ability to invent and innovate. What a concept. While also utilizing forbidden technologies such as the Silica Animus or AI. The Dark Mechanicum do have their own desires to find lost technologies and put them to use, but they're more interested in taking ancient and forbidden technology from Imperial worlds and activating them for their own purposes. Because what good is a bunch of knob and tube wiring if you don't overload it with as many extension cords as possible? However, instead of being clear-cut and more generalized creations, the inventions of the Dark Mechanicum are inherently tied with the warp and its demons. Genetic experimentation and modification, the fusion of man and machine are exceptionally common, and no creation is more reflective of this than the demon engines. Instead of regular tanks and vehicles, the demon engines are machines bound with the presence of demons to make them living war machines. Unlike the vehicles of the Imperium, where a Mechanicus priest may be there to aid in its repair, a Warpsmith sorcerer is there to essentially repair and irritate the demon engine so that it can be a more effective killing machine. In certain factions, like the bitter and siege-loving Iron Warriors, they will lure demons with the promise of glory and easy bloodletting, only to then forcibly trap them into these demonic engines to use as weapons of war against the Imperium. Some lesser gods, like Vashtor the Archifane, is also a contract and arms dealer for the demonic stuff that comes out of chaos. Many demons may sign a pact with Vashtor in the soul forges of the warp, and in doing so are given the weapons of war to kill as much as they can. Should they do so, excellent, you may keep it. Should you not, I hope you enjoy your soul working in the forges for all eternity. That's what you signed with blood and oil. In addition, much like their ties in the Loyalist realm, the Dark Mechanicum and the Chaos Knight houses are deeply intertwined. There were, of course, many Knight houses that swore fealty and bent the knee to War Master Horus during the Heresy, but a good portion of them had no choice, as they were absorbed by warp storms and corrupted into compliance. Many of these Chaos Knights reflect the very early Dark Age technology Knights with more corrupted weapons. The Throne Mechanicum, which once had a noble sitting and taking control of generations of previous drivers and taming a beast, is now a saddle to a monstrosity of wrath and hatred. The nobles of the Chaos Knights fight to aggravate and bring the machine to their will while combating the corrupted minds of their fallen ancestors. Some of these nobles may do such a good job that they themselves fuse into the throne itself and become one with the knight. If a noble dies, no worries at all. Unlike the Imperial ones that require a pilot, a demon can hop into the cockpit and control it instead. The Night Worlds also see full corruption as well. Where there were once peasants, there are now cultists, and the goal of the Chaos Knights are just as chaotic as the gods they follow. Some are sent to war by the ruinous powers. Others may protect Dark Mechanicum Forge worlds, and others still may be so hyped up on the ruinous powers that they are just aimless and reckless, hoping to unravel the fabric of the universe itself. Though the aspect of nobility is still there with the Chaos.
Wait, what does it say in the corner? Hold up. Off the stream, your actual webcam just turned on.
The aspect of nobility is still there with the Chaos Knight, but it's hardly the same.
Turn
as
it off. What are you
Imperial
doing?
Side. As opposed to a beautiful knightly stallion, the knights here are horrifying and unpredictable monstrosities, fueled in part by the agony of the memories of the ancestors trapped within. An invasion by a house of Chaos Knights is a horrifying thing. One
Right, I completely forgot that, like, I forgot about the Chaos Knights. Holy shit. I don't remember what video we were watching, but the Chaos Knights are like, they're just like, they're noble houses, right? And they just carry the memories of like the previous like generations, right? That's so fucked up and crazy and like, ugh. Yeah, I mean, you know, okay, guys, would you be a Chaos Knight for the aesthetic, knowing full well that like you're basically fucked for the rest of your life? And Bricky just said that, yeah. But we also watched a video that talked about it earlier, and like, we watched a video like ages ago that talked about it, and I was just sat here like, right, that is what it is. Never. Okay, guys, you guys are stronger than me. You guys are stronger than me. I do it for the aesthetic. I do it for the aesthetic. I do it for the aesthetic. I feel like, oh shit, I gotta look fucking sick. Let's go. I can't take it. Honestly, I wouldn't either. I'm kidding, but yeah. Getting possessed by a demon, wanting to take the wheel. Where's your shut up, Hiruma Red X. If you guys didn't know, that's my boss. Guys, don't follow me into the warp. I am literally dumb. No, oh, was it Bricky explaining it in part 1? Was that what it was? So, if you guys didn't realize by now, at this point, we've watched so many lore videos that all of it's kind of getting jumbled up. I don't remember who's exactly taught me what from which video. Because we've watched that many. It's kind of, we're kind of like, okay, so like my brain right now is basically like a fucking like lore soup.
You might ask, how do knights enter the battlefield? Normally they can be deployed via dropships the standard way, but Imperial Knights can be deployed with a drop keep. A gigantic knight keep with like towers and stuff will hurtle towards the surface like a drop pod and be slammed into the ground with an excessively thunderous crash. Then, massive drawbridges slam down, banners unfurl, and huge horns play the song of their people as these lumbering robots charge out of their, again, drop keep to fight for the Imperium. So imagine what a warp-fueled version of this could look like.
If you get the opportunity, you should kill yourself.
Chaos Knights have such a presence, the warp fluctuates in their tread.
Wait, what does this mean? 15 signs you're a yogurt male, super rare. Is it better than alpha? What is a yogurt male? Wait, that's a joke? Oh, okay. Do I have to ask Leah what this is? I don't know what this is either. Alpha or omega male stuff? Oh, wait, you know, can I be real? I've seen that on Twitter. I don't understand it. Like, at all. Only a yogurt male would understand? What is a yogurt male affirmations? It's peak. Am I not, like, Twitter brained enough for this? Am I too normie core for this? I'm too normie for this. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just a normie. I'm just a normie. All I have on my Twitter timeline are like dog videos. Oh my god.
They bring doom, dread, and despair across the battlefield.
Not despair.
Warp storms occur overhead, and psychic phenomenon cling to them. A Chaos Knight will arrive either in some warp-debased platform, or perhaps a portal itself, or climb out of a pool of blood. As the air gets heavy, the enemy feels a crippling sense of paranoia, and the sky begins to rain blood, acid, and God knows what else. The horrors of the warp have resulted in a dramatic change in technology in the favor of their forces. Though in practice, it is a horror beyond comprehension, their baseline desires don't seem that radical on paper. They are creative builders, working to innovate and improve technology while utilizing anything they can to accomplish their STEM goals. Looking at the dark forces of chaos and the Emperor now on his golden throne, humanity is fractured. The Emperor himself is the guiding light for warp travel for humanity, and in being that exists as a beacon for the entire species. Without him, things would get somehow worse. Therefore, he needs his protectors. Where a Thunder
Ooh.
Warrior wasn't enough for his armies, and half of his Space Marines turned traitor, the Emperor's personal bodyguards are something else entirely.
The
They are not the
Custodians!
fallible Astartes, nor are they a nightmarish concoction of organs and indoctrination. They are built and gene-crafted with science bordering on magic. They number 10,000 strong, and each of them is a hero.
Get
They
in!
are the
Adeptus Custodians. You guys call them the
Rare
Boys?
is the battle where an Emperor's Custodians outnumber our foes. We are ever beset, surrounded upon all sides by heresy and foulness, just as is Terra itself. Yet, like the throne world, we stand resolute, indefatigable, indomitable. Let the enemy come. Let them darken the horizon with their numbers. Still, we will prevail. Though the Emperor sits rotting on the golden throne, his talons remain sharp. The Talons of the Emperor was the name given to the most elite forces at his disposal. The left hand of his talons comes in the form of the Sisters of Silence, psychic blanks that scour the galaxy to claim souls, to fuel the Astronomicon in the form of the Great Tithe. 1,000 psychers sacrificed daily to keep the Emperor of Mankind alive, dragged into the black ships of the Silent Sisterhood.
See, you guys can't see because my bangs are covering it, but I definitely have a face hat like that one, huh? You guys believe that? What if I told you guys under the bangs I have like a tat like that one? Would you believe me? I don't. I'm lying. I'm sorry. I lied.
The right hand of the Emperor's protectorate, his golden bodyguards that serve him and only him. These are the Custodians. While the members of the Space Marines went out to take back the galaxy, the Legio Custodes stood back and kept a close watch over the Emperor himself. The Custodes are, in a sense, similar to Space Marines in that they are genetically modified super soldiers clad in power armor, but that is where the similarities stop. Their genetic makeup seems to be made from the Emperor himself, or at least something quite close. And the precision of their creation predates the development of the Space Marines and even the Primarchs. Unlike Space Marine recruitment, where there's a process undertaken when a subject is at least somewhat grown, a Custodian's process begins at infancy.
Okay, so are the Adeptus Custodians just basically Primarchs light? Like, if the Primarchs are what you get from a SOR, are they basically the Primarchs but like from like Timu? Is that like yeah? More like premium? Okay. So if the Primarchs are like the premium stuff, are the Adeptus Custodians basically store brand? Budget Primarchs. That's what I was thinking. Cousins, I think. Okay. Different direction, but a bit weaker. But yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like, okay, so like, you know that I don't know much about the Custodians specifically, because the only thing that I know about the Custodians are from the if the Emperor had TTS, and that also didn't really explain much about the Custodians, and we've never really watched a video about the Custodians specifically. So it's like they're weaker like cousins. That I see. No, go read Watchers of the Throne. I'm not reading anything until like June, unfortunately. Remember, guys, we're not reading anything until June. At which point, check out my Patreon because I might do book reviews. I might just do book reviews because I thought about like reading the books and then live tweeting about it, but then I'd have to create like a separate Twitter account. That way, like, I could like tell you guys about the book as I'm reading it. But at the same time, I don't know. Yeah, book club maybe. Okay, so I had like the thought of telling you guys about like the books that I'm reading, but you also know that I have a terrible memory, right? So by the time I'm like done reading it, I would have been like, oh yeah, the book was pretty good. I would have been like, oh yeah, the book pretty fucking fire. That's about it. Mio makes an OnlyFans, but it's only a book club. Well, shit, we're about to read so many books. Talking about his way to make the memory better. Yeah, so like I feel like reading it and then like probably like writing about it would make a lot more sense than like live tweeting about it or like recapping about it later off stream. Oh, I don't want to listen to the audiobooks. I like actually reading. Like I don't read very often. Wait, that's so terrible. Like I don't get the opportunity to read books very often, so when I do, I really do enjoy reading a lot.
The methods in which they are made are a secret, but what is known is that at the very beginning, each custodian was made by the Emperor himself. Regardless of the bioalchemical process, the process is exceptionally long and grueling, and only a handful of selected aspirants make it to the end. Those that do are clad in the most regal and effective armor in the Imperium. Commonly, a custodian is seen carrying a guardian spear, an utterly yoked up version of the stabs the Praetorian guards of the Emperor in Star Wars have. They are also clad with specific shields and blades, but the most interesting thing with all of their gear is that due to the meticulous and dedicated maintenance and preservation of their armor and gear, these items are the same ones they used 10,000 years ago. The custodians do not age biologically, so some of the veterans in the Guard may be several thousand years old. And unlike the Space Marines, they fight entirely as a solo force. When a line of custodians is holding back waves of enemies, they operate independently. There are no battle formations, there are no squad tactics. Each custodian is the main character, trailed by serfs and servitors, tasked entirely to reload their weapons. They fight with a singular purpose, if not action. Groups of custodians will dispatch enemy after enemy, their spears coming within inches of each other, but never close enough for a killing blow. Their strikes are intentionally defensive, allowing their opponents to attack 1 to 2 times before parrying and ending their lives. Each strike deflected is an opportunity to know their enemy more and learn from their patterns. They are truly the Emperor's bodyguards, masters of close combat, enemy knowledge, and reactions measured in milliseconds. Though the custodians are a part of the Adeptus Terra, the members of the Guard only answer to their own leadership and the Emperor himself. The leader of the custodians is known as the Captain General, and individual squads of custodians are overseen by a shield captain. As their focus is on the Emperor, their command center is located within the Imperial Palace. The Tower of Hegemon serves as their primary base of operations, but there is a dedicated elite guard of custodians known as the Companions that stands 300 strong by the Emperor's side. In total, the custodians are 10,000 strong, and when a member retires, their name is added to the Hall of Name and vanish across the galaxy in a cloaked disguise to serve as eyes and ears for the Imperium. Despite their numbers and their strength, the members of the custodians do not consider themselves to be soldiers or warriors in any way. They see themselves strictly as the guardians of the Emperor in all facets of his presence. This extends beyond the physical. Custodians believe they represent the guarding of the Emperor's ideals and philosophies too. Their gains are both physical and literary. They are the protectorates of everything the Emperor stood for, and in doing so, the custodians are also artisans and scholars, in addition to being the Golden Guard of the Golden Throne. However, due to this nature of being protectorates, they have a very strong view when it comes to the Space Marines and the Primarchs. The Emperor himself had insinuated many times that once the galaxy was brought to heel, that there would be no need for the Space Marines anymore, and they were to go the same way that the Thunder Warriors went before them. The custodians were meant to be the judge, jury, and executioner of this will, and are biologically designed not only to be able to take down Space Marine with ease, but to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Primarch as well.
Okay, so I just saw a comment that someone said that they have weird power levels depending on who writes them. Is that true? Yeah, like, I guess, I don't know, maybe we need to, like, look into more Custodians lore, because, like, I think the Custodians are very interesting. And I am, like, curious to see how they're written in, like, the books, you know? The writing is inconsistent? Ah, okay. Some authors love to mess around. That's true for all characters and all writers? No, that makes sense. That does make sense. Oh man, I guess it'd be too much to ask for consistent writing, but I guess it does make a ton of sense. Custodians are really cool. I think they are. What's WORF? What's WORF? I've seen that, like, mentioned, like, a few times. What does that mean? They can either 1v3 or 1v10 Space Marines, and it's an author thing. Ah. Oh yeah, no, I know power scaling is very inconsistent in Warhammer. We've talked about it a lot. People got mad at me for, like, talking about the power scaling. People got really upset when I talked about the whole like lictors thing, by the way. Remember when we were saying, when they were like, oh, lictors are really strong, and I was like, oh, they can't be that strong. Like we did really good against them in like Space Marines too, right? So if like, so maybe it's just like a Titus is OP kind of thing. But where one guardsman if you squad of Space Marines, so power scale. Oh, that is dumb. That is dumb. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I feel like power scaling. Can I be real? I feel like in a lot of like nerd culture, power scaling is always an issue. If you really think about it, right? Power scaling is an issue when a systemic place is in place and people don't adhere or respect the set system. Yeah, I do genuinely think that in a lot of like especially like nerdy culture, power scaling is like insanely weird and like inconsistent. I don't hate it, don't get me wrong, I don't hate it. I do think that it's like really like fun, but yeah.
The Heresy, the Custodians muse on how suspiciously easy it was to kill Chaos Space Marines, as if they were trained and made for that explicit purpose. Constantine Valdor, one of the closest advisors to the Emperor, was asked if he ever disagreed with BG on something. And he said, once, with the formation of the Primarchs.
I feel I do my best, but they don't.
Let me ask you a very fair question. What do you do successfully? Quickly.
Oh my god, the drag race.
I hate that every time we're in Untucked, the conversations are about me.
And besides the trained distrust for Space Marines, the Custodians also have evidence for their distrust. The Horus Heresy saw half of the chapters fall to chaos and turn traitor against the Emperor. In the mind of a Custodian, the fact that half of the Space Marines fell before means that the other half can fall with ease. They are fully capable of wiping out literally any force put against them, and in a sense are the final representation of the golden age of terror. However, they are forced to stand in silent and blind service to the Emperor and to the ill of the Imperium. And they, for 10,000 years, have stood vigil over the Imperium and have watched its rise and fall with the inability to do anything about it. While they
I kind of love how it just ends that, yep, they watch, but you know, they couldn't do anything about it. I do really like it's such a good joke.
do go out and fight some battles here and there. At the end of the day, the vastness of the Imperium means that the closest advisors to the Emperor himself are powerless to make any change.
Yeah,
but goddamn,
that's true.
can they kill a Space Marine? For 100 years, I stood my watch amidst the somber shadows of the Sanctum Imperialis. I was still as a statue, but always ready, always attuned to dangers unseen. Days, months, years passed by in a frenzied blur beyond those walls, yet within, little moved and nothing changed. For 100 years, I did not but wait, yet had any threat appeared, I would have struck it down in a heartbeat. For 100 years, I stood my watch, and as it ends, I can tell you this: patience is a weapon. Of course, a threat directly to Terra itself would appear to be something foolish. It's in the deepest parts of Imperial space and is one of the most defended bastions in the galaxy. You'd truly have to be foolhardy or insane to think that you can take on Terra itself. However, one faction certainly got close. In the dark ages of the stars and in a river of misery, there is one faction having a cracking old time. The galaxy sees them as savages, yet they have already figured out the questions of the universe. Their numbers are uncountable, their technology incomprehensible, and yet their violence is so very
Are we ready?
green.
Are we ready?
I am, of course, talking about the The orcs are the pinnacle of creation. For them, the great struggle is won. They have evolved a society which knows no stress or angst. Who are we to judge them? We Eldar who have failed, or the humans on the road to ruin in their turn? And why? Because we saw answers to questions that an orc wouldn't even bother to ask. We see a culture that is strong and despise it as crude. During the war in heaven, the Old Ones were doing their best to spawn as many combatants to their cause as possible by seeding the galaxy in a specialized sense. The Eldar were made to be a precise and tactical species to fight off the Catan and the Necrons, but another prominent species was made by them as well. The Krork were warriors clad in ornate armor with more dangerous weaponry. However, things changed, and these warriors changed, and the Krork are no more. They are now known as the boys, the lads, the mates, the orcs,
The boys!
An orc in 40k looks like an orc in most other fantasy media. Hulking, warlike monstrosities with big teeth and worse attitudes. However, unlike the more Tolkien-esque forms of these creatures, the devastating nature of the orcs is in their biology. Unlike most species in the galaxy, the orcs are actually a type of fungus. This fungus itself comes in various forms. The small goblin-like Gretchen and Snotlings are a part of this fungal ecosystem as well, and also the squigs, which can be used for basically anything. But regardless of what is a part of the fungal system, all of them are born from spores that land on the ground and grow. As they travel around the galaxy, they drop spores literally everywhere, and then an orc dies, and they drop tons of fungal spores that allows for their numbers to be replenished over a period of time. Because of this, orcs are not only extremely prominent across the galaxy, but they are exceptionally resilient due to their growing cycle. Even if
Orcs are just mushrooms? They're just mushrooms then? Wait. Murder mushrooms. Oh. Huh. Okay. That makes a ton of sense. They're just fun guys. Okay. Impossible to get rid of? Sure. Okay. Okay. I think this is the first time I've ever heard that, like, how they reproduce, and now I'm like, oh, that is so interesting. What the heck? I just watched Lord of the Rings recently. I just like rewatched Lord of the Rings recently, and like I don't know why, but I've always had in my mind that, like, orcs like reproduce, like, you know, the way that they did in like Lord of the Rings, right? I didn't think they're basically mushroom spores. What the heck? Okay. That makes sense. You know, that makes a ton of sense. Now I think I get it. Okay.
If one orc lands on a planet, it will be nearly impossible to get rid of all of the orc presence unless the planet itself is completely destroyed. And even then, they might find a way to survive. Due to their fungal nature, orcs don't really stop growing. And the more long-lived an orc is, the bigger they get. And the more an orc fights, the bigger they get. Of course, since they're constantly getting into scraps, an orc's lifespan isn't necessarily that long, so the bigger orcs are harder to find. Though alongside this, however, they are a tribe-based species that is comprised of warbands, and the biggest and the strongest orc leads the warband known as the War Boss. At the bottom end of the orc tribal system are the Gretchens and the Snotlings. These members act as the servants and slaves of the orcs, and sometimes their actual ammunition, despite being a bit smarter and more cunning than their bigger brethren. Because in orc culture, the biggest is the boss. The smallest gets picked on and thrown around. Beyond the warbands and the tribes, orcs also belong to a specific clan. Tribes constantly shatter and rebuild, but the clans do not. They are, in a sense, a psychological state of being for any given orc, and gives an orc their specific character and traits. And to make things easier, these clans are also color-coded, so that's very easy to tell what orc does what. Though there are many clans out there, 6 of them are the most prominent and well-known. The Bad Moons are essentially the merchants and have a lot of money because their currency is teeth, and they grow teeth faster than any others. The Blood Axes are the stealth units, and by stealth, it means like slightly more quiet than the others, and they have a love for LARPing as humies. Death Skulls are the scavengers, and the Goths are the close combat specialists. And on the 2 ends of the spectrum, we also have the tech-savvy Evil Sons and the more traditionalist and tribal Snakebites. Another major facet of orcs is their religious beliefs. They believe in 2 gods, Gork and Mork. Gork is cunning and brutal, and Mork is brutally cunning. The difference between them, according to orcs, is that Mork hits you when you aren't looking, and Gork hits you when you are. There's a lot of confusion as to which one is which, and this results in a lot of infighting. In other species, this would be considered a sort of religious conflict, but for the orcs, it's just another excuse to fight. I have a quote here, but I don't really do a good orc voice. So I'm going to get my co-host of That's Ridiculous to read this one, and I'll try to lip sync it.
Oh, he's more cunning than a grot and more killy than a dread. The boys that follow me can't be beat. On Piscina, we jumped the Marine boys, and our boss pose was covered in the helmets we took from the dead-ends. We burned their port and killed their bosses and left nothing but ruins behind. I'm Warlord Gezgul Mac Uruk, and I speak with the word of the gods. We's gonna stomp the universe flat and kill anything what fights back. We's gonna do this 'cause we're orcs, and we was made to fight and win.
It's good. It's terrible. Fighting is the biggest aspect of Ork culture, and is essentially their life's purpose. They are genetically hardwired to get into battles and scraps with enemies that can feel pain. The more they fight, the bigger they get. This, combined with them getting bigger over time, means that some of the biggest and baddest orcs of all time have been notably gigantic. The Beast, as he was known, was about the size of an Imperial Knight. If an orc runs out of other enemies to fight, they will immediately start infighting to scratch the battle itch.
Wait,
For example,
really? Damn.
in the Warp, a planet exists where a band of orcs are in a constant state of war and battle, and have been for an improbably long amount of time, strictly because how much Khorne enjoys himself watching it. For some, being trapped in a perpetual war planet for all eternity would be a fate worse than death, but to the boys, this is heaven. In the event of a particularly big battle, a massive amount of tribes and warbands will unite under what is known as the Waaagh. The concept of a Waaagh covers a few bases. The first is the group aspect of the massive green tidal wave of orcs fighting for the same cause, the cause being the second base. But the most prominent aspect of the Waaagh is the psychic aspect of it. Remember how the old ones made the Eldar and all the Eldar are psychic? Well, the orcs are too, kinda, but just not as much. Only a little bit of it. And they often don't know how to use it and frankly don't care. But a huge gathering of orcs generates a psychic field that allows orcs to be more organized, dangerous, and dedicated to the war-based cause. However, the true extent of the psychic energy and its usage is relatively unknown, but that doesn't matter considering the outcome 90% of the time. In a similar sense, their ragtag technology and weaponry is also a mystery to most who encounter it purely because of that Waaagh energy. The technology the orcs use seem to be held together with duct tape and plastic glue, and crude doesn't even begin to describe it. Their guns seem to have an inordinate amount of ammunition and firepower, and they are seemingly able to put things together on the fly in the middle of combat.
Can I just say, my favorite thing about the orcs is that they're like entirely vibes based, and like I fuck with that. I fuck with that heavy. I think that like the fact that they're entirely vibes based is so fucking funny. I really do like it though, like a lot.
The Imperium is of the mind that the orcs' weapons and machinery only work due to their innate psychic ability, but realistically, orc gear hardly works in the first place. Weapons blow up in a Bugs Bunny-esque manner all the time, and their war buggies can collapse in the middle of battle. Just because it works a handful of times does not mean it's an effective weapon, but this doesn't stop the orcs and their green tide. To really understand the power of the Waaagh energy, orcs can operate purely off of belief. Now, a misconception is that orcs believe something is real and it happens. But that isn't true, because that's just one orc. However, there's never one orc. There's normally a few billion orcs together, and if they all believe something is true, the warp will tend to respond with a positive green light. Sometimes. Do the red ones go faster? Well, with enough orcs, yeah. How does an orc buggy with an engine block that's just a boulder with vroom vroom written in chalk work?
I believe.
Who cares? Orcs breathing on a ship with a hull breach? Go ahead. An orc went back in time to kill a version of himself so he could have two of his favorite weapons. It is shenanigans.
What?
Because of their actions and aesthetic, the orcs tend to be presented in a comic relief sense in a lot of media, particularly the media from their perspective. They are bumbling and loud and goofy British football hooligans, and they say silly things and act in silly ways. But to the citizens of the Imperium, The orcs are far from funny. They are violent and irrational creatures that take humans for punching bags, slaves, or ultimately dinner. They have no moral compass and are violent and brutal killers that know nothing else. They are genetically designed to be a violent species that was capable of beating back the Necrons and the Catan. And if the orcs were ever able to unify under one banner, they would be utterly unstoppable. However, due to their aggressive nature, their organizational skills are non-existent, and they tend to just beat each other up for the fun of it. All that exists in the mind of an orc is fighting, and nothing else. If they wipe out their enemies, they will inevitably wipe themselves out as well. They are a brutal Ouroboros doomed to an endless war cycle, but to an orc, why does it matter?
Why is there a green Boris Johnson? Huh? Oh, because they're British. Oh, you know what? That makes so much sense. Okay, never mind. That makes more sense now.
If they fight and they win, they win. If they fight and they die, it was a good fight. Now that the Xenos armies are growing in strength and more are threatening the safety of the Imperium, they need to bring new methods in order to handle what they are currently facing. The Emperor is on the Golden Throne. Half the Space Marines are traitor and they are beset from enemies within and without. So now the Lords on Terra must prepare for anything possible and sometimes the impossible. For that, they take to the stars to explore and expand. They recruit assassins for priority eliminations. They train a galactic police force and a secret police to root out any and all heresy. The lesser known yet most feared,
the agents of the Imperium!
I carry with me an inquisitorial seal. It is a small, unassuming object contained in a neat box of Pluvian obsidian. It is a modest thing, relatively plain, adorned with a single motif and a simple motto. Yet with this little object, I can sign the death warrant of an entire world and can sign 1 billion souls to oblivion. Where the Imperium may see its justice dealt out by the hands of its armies and the gauntlets of its Astartes, when one needs eyes, ears, or both cut out, it looks to the agents of the Imperium. In a meta sense, these agents are a homogenized version of multiple factions from the original video 5 years ago. They comprise multiple aspects of the wide and all-encompassing armies of humanity and serve different roles. Whether it be the law enforcers of the Adeptus Arbites, the void-faring explorers of rogue traders, the invisible hand of the Assassinorum, or the hospitality of the Emperor's Inquisition, each has a part to play in the God Emperor's domain. Rogue traders are a great example of a somewhat undiscussed part of the Imperium: its nobility. While you may see the General Imperium as a totalitarian hellscape, because it is, this is to those under the boot of the nobles that run it. Rogue traders are a special kind of explorer, and their existence is extremely important to the function of the Imperium. A rogue trader is often an extremely special individual and is given the monumentally sized warrant of trade, allowing them to be given almost complete and utter freedom. Their
Yo, this lady though, kind of hot though. Holy shit.
Task is simple: to chart the uncharted, learn the unlearned, and do whatever they can as an explorer and conquistador for those back on Terra. This information is, strictly speaking, invaluable. Whether a sector can be settled and colonies built, or precious rare resources exist on a floating asteroid can be mined, or a long-lost Imperial world from the Age of Strife is recovered, it's all absolutely imperative. These rogue traders are faster than any other kind of Imperial armada and therefore chart the direction of the entire society. Because of this, rogue traders are given a substantial amount of freedom. They have a ship and a crew of specialists and can do things that would see any normal person shot. They can barter deals and even recruit Xenos races. They can explore areas strictly prohibited, and they can earn a vast amount of wealth and riches in doing so. This tends to make rogue traders a very long lineage, and their heirs take up the mantle of their house. By being explorers, they become fabulously wealthy, and some can become quite the assholes while doing so. But truly, much like a night pilot, a rogue trader is an exceptionally rich individual who can back it up. They are master swordsmen, explorers, merchants, settlers, diplomats, and everything in between. They chart a course and they set the grounds, which means they will need someone to defend them, and the prime choice for that can be the Adeptus Arbites. Now, the Arbites are cops, Judge Dredd style cops, as their inspiration clearly shows. Each planet will have their own members of local law enforcement, and most of them will settle many of the issues there and then. But when something requires a far more in-depth peacekeeping force, the Adeptus Arbites are brought in. Think local police versus the FBI. Arbitrators in the Arbites tend to focus heavily on stopping crime before it can become too much of a threat. A criminal gang or heretical uprising can be subdued quickly and efficiently by utilizing them and dealing with soon-to-be criminals, as they put it. They will tap into communications, create spy networks, do interrogations and sabotage, anything that helps the good of the Imperium and the law they seek to preserve. The code of the Arbites is laid out entirely via the Book of Judgment, a gigantic library of pages showing every single law from every single High Lord of Terra in the history of the Imperium. Because the Imperium is so vast, hundreds of laws are added every single day, and the library continues to grow with more and more laws and judgments. While Arbites themselves carry a small version called the Book of Law on their person, this does end up creating a system where the unjustly prosecuted will never escape their prisons. If an innocent is wrongly convicted, any form of legal counsel will need to go through the Book of Judgment to help get you out. Often these prisoners require hundreds of years of litigation, in which they will eventually expire before they can be deemed wrongly convicted. Innocence is irrelevant. You have been judged guilty of transgressing the Lex Imperialis. Do not compound your guilt by evading punishment, as there are greater crimes, so are there greater sentences. Of course, should something go out of the hands of the Adeptus Arbites, there is always the silent hand of the Officio Assassinorum to take their place. Naturally, the Imperium has assassins, and these
I've always found this, this art in particular, really fucking hot though. Is that weird? I don't know. Is that weird, chat? Is it weird? I think they're really fucking hot, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Yeah, sometimes the Discord notifications trip me up too. I was like, oh, it's not weird, right? It's actually really hot now, isn't it? Oh man, fine shit. I hit that too. See, I'm not weird, chat. I'm not weird. I'm not weird at all. They can bore you. It is weird. Oh, they can what me? They can change your flesh. I take it back. I take it back. I'm scared now. I'm scared. It's a latex suit. It is a latex suit. I'm scared now.
Assassins are sent to dispatch important figures that would not normally be handled by simply sending waves and waves of guardsmen at it. The Assassinorum is headed by the Grand Master of the Assassinorum, who is a High Lord of Terra and perhaps the shadiest individual in the entire galaxy. At his disposal are multiple types of assassins that all specialize in various things. Their training is extreme and absurd. Aspirant children are often subjected to Hunger Games style combat with each other on the ride over to the temple. Then you get low gravity, high pressure, traps, horrendous physical and mental strain, and everything in between. Then their minds are wiped completely and the real fun begins. An Imperial Assassin is nothing to mess around with. They are some of the fastest moving and hardest hitting things the Imperium has at hand and can go toe to toe with Space Marines depending on which temple they are from. Some, like the Vindicares, are master snipers who lie in wait for weeks, days, or even months just to get the perfect headshot from 5 kilometers away and disappear.
That's
the Cultist
crazy.
Temple are masters of shape-shifting and take a drug that allows them to transmute their body into whatever they see fit. A confidant of a target may be killed and they will take their place before killing their target outright. Or they can shift into a member of a Chaos Warband with symbols and flesh and all that to earn the trust of a cult leader before slitting their throat. The Caluxus Assassin is a psychic blank, a soulless mutation, making them appear as uneasy to normal humans and downright disgusting to psychers. When a powerful psycher is causing issues, this is who you send. Their specialized helmet enhances their already latent powers and will allow them to all but drain the souls from those they touch and their very body. It is an extreme weapon used when a direct form of pressure must be applied to an otherwise untouchable psyker. Now, if you need a direct pressure in a more literal way, the Eversor is for you. A drugged up comatose psychopath that is directly dropped on enemy lines and allowed to wreak havoc, killing anything and everything it sees in a blaze of movement and blood before it inevitably dies and causes a plasma explosion on its demise. There are other temples as well, the Vanis Temple acting as sort of like a cyber hacker, the Venomim Temple specializing in poisons, but all in all, assassins move with their skin-tight body gloves with a speed unmatched and force unexpected. One of the best assassin novels puts a Vindicator Calidus and Vanis to infiltrate a night world, kill the High Monarch of the Night, who is permanently stuck in his giant robot knight, install a new ruler in his stead, and make sure nobody knows the Imperium did it. Their missions are insanity, and their tasks impossible, and they do it anyway. Thus is the power the Assassinorum wields. We do not
I forgot how
determine the
much I
guilty,
like them.
We do not decide the
They're
punishment.
so cool.
We are merely the cold instrument of the Emperor's vengeance. There is no form of death unknown to us. There is no form of terror beyond our means. There is no enemy outside our reach. We are the blade that hovers over the throat of the traitor. We are the bullet that awaits the heretic's skull. We are the poison in the throat of the alien. However, despite the prowess of the traitors, the police, and the assassins, there is one that stands above all.
Guys, I forgot to tell you guys. I started going to secondhand bookstores just to see if I could find like copies, like physical copies of like the Warhammer books. No luck. But it's okay, I think. But yeah, no such luck. It's cheaper to get digital. No, but like there's a difference, you know, like okay, one of the goals that I have in the future, like when I get my own house, is to have like a nerd room where like I have like bookshelves of like nerdy like books. And like one of the things I really want to do is I want to get like Warhammer books.
As the Imperium settled into its post-Emperor world, they needed a force to root out corruption wherever it could be found. But they needed specialized individuals who could do so. Men and women who would serve as detective and executioner. This new secret police would have unlimited authority, and they would be known as the Inquisition. Inquisitors of the Inquisition are one of the most feared individuals in all of the galaxy for the common members of humanity. Trained in the most difficult of conditions and mental hardening, they have long closed their minds to the compassions of those they deem guilty. Inquisitors are, for the most part, detectives, but they are detectives whose authority is unmatched and actions justified by the state itself, similar to the KGB, the Gestapo, the Stasi, the OVRA, but unlike those organizations, the Inquisition has far more authority and is one of the only types of individuals who can commit exterminatus, the term used for the utter and total destruction of a planet that is no longer deemed usable by the Imperium. While it is a very exciting word and a commonly notable thing done in Warhammer, exterminatus is not actually used particularly often. It's a last resort entirely meant to stop the enemy from gaining a major foothold.
Wait, I feel like I've heard the term exterminatus often enough. What the hell? What? Huh? You don't have infinite planets to blow up? That's true. It's a last resort. Pretty rare. It's a meme. Oh, there are only so many planets. I feel like they talk about exterminatus so much that it feels like there's a lot, but maybe it's like only like a handful of times, huh? I see. It's memed on. Oh, okay, that's why I hear about it a lot then. Ah, you know what? That makes sense. Could you teach Mochi the importance of proper hygiene? I don't think I could teach Mochi that. That's a little too hard. The Inquisitor who got crazy with that got kicked out. That makes sense. That makes so much sense. Oh my god, Dologs. Worlds haven't been visited by the Imperium in a couple of years. I think that's the thing though. Like so far all I personally know is that like big incidents have happened, right? But like the fact that the thing about the Warhammer universe is that it's so big, right? That even though these like important events are being mentioned, they realistically haven't happened that often. So I see. Most Inquisitors' careers are ruined after they form Exterminatus. I see. Okay, that makes more sense.
Hi besties, it's me, Miwa, and if you're enjoying today's video, please consider subscribing, okay? Like, please, times a billion. I'm like really asking this of you, ne?
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Cause like in the lore, it's mentioned a lot, but I think realistically, it's not something that happens very often. I see.
Or spread even more corruption. Even with 1 million worlds, the wholesale slaughter of an entire planet is still a massive blow to the Imperium. Inquisitors range quite a bit, not just in how they operate, but also in their personalities. They are often main characters for a large amount of books, as detective noir is a great genre, and they can be the most stone-cold killer or a pragmatic and sympathetic individual depending on who they are. Radical Inquisitors may utilize methods unlike most of the Imperium, such as alien tech or even demon hosts, where Puritans stick closer to the methods of the religious state and shun any deviations. They also specialize in various aspects, as the Inquisition has orders or ordos, such as Xenos for aliens, Malleus for demons, and Hereticus for, you guessed it. Truly, if you are a normal citizen of the Imperium, a person flashing an inquisitorial rosette in front of you may be one of the most terrifying moments of your entire life. It is the same as an FBI badge or a KGB member, except now you're in Warhammer. So, their authority and tools are infinite. Agents of the Imperium are vast and
makes so much sense.
Concepts to the world of Warhammer, and they continue to expand as the Emperor's descent into the Golden Throne has lasting effects on humanity. As time progressed, a few people seeing the Emperor as a deity made their voices louder, and over a few thousand years, worship of the Emperor was not only considered expected, but state mandated. This church will be known as the Ecclesiarchy, and there were many who would look to the cardinal position and make desperate grabs at their power, leaving horrid effects on the populace. The Age of Apostasy was a time of reformation in the Imperium that saw its eventual change into an overtly religious empire. During this time, an all-female warrior cult to the Emperor called the Daughters of the Emperor were a bit more isolated from the wider Imperium. However, as the Ecclesiarchy began to take root, one Goj Van Dyer became the High Lord of the
Doge!
and noticed these warriors and felt they could be useful to him. Goj himself told these warriors that he was the voice of the Emperor himself and demanded they fire upon him to prove it. Having a little hidden force field that this warrior cult had never seen before, the bullet bounced off of him and showing him to be unharmed, truly blessed by the Emperor.
Fuck
this
Doge!
cult became known.
Fuck Doge! All my homies hate fucking Doge. We hate him. Is he really a foot? Wait, really? Nuns with guns? I love the nuns with guns. I think honestly, okay. So there's the Sisters of Battle and Sisters of Silence, right? I keep getting them mixed up. It's Goj? No. It's Doge Van Dyer. But yeah, Doge is way funnier. Custodians, Sisters of Battle are faithful ones. Yeah, I think that's the thing. They're all like named sisters, so I get like very confused about it. But that makes sense. Coach Vandar, we fucking hate him, man. Fuck that guy. Fuck that bitch. We hate him.
Known as the Brides of the Emperor and acted as his personal bodyguards and aides. However, Doge Van Dyer was a tyrant, and his horrendous reign spelled ruination for the wider Imperium, which made the Adeptus Custodians take notice. Despite an outright coup and revolt against him, the deadlock was getting steep as the Brides of the Emperor's fierce combat skills kept him safe. One Custodian made contact with the leader of the Brides and brought her into the throne room of the Emperor himself. Nobody knows what transpired in that room, save for Alicia Dominica, the Custodian, and the Emperor himself. However, she left the room with her hair bleached pure white from the interaction, marched her battle brides directly to Van Dyer himself and said, "You have committed the ultimate heresy. Not only have you turned your back on the Emperor and stepped from his light, you have profaned his name and almost destroyed everything he has striven to build. You have perverted and twisted the path he has laid for mankind to tread. As your decrees have stated, there can be no mercy for such a crime, no pity for such a criminal. I renounce your lordship. You walk in the darkness and cannot be allowed to live. Your sentence has been long overdue, and it is now time for you to die.
Wait, that's
Despite
so
not
hard.
having any
That
time
goes so
to die,
hard.
Doge Van Dyer found some time to do so. With his head lopped clean from his body, the brides of the Emperor were no more, and the Ecclesiarchy signed a document to stop Van Dyer's reign from happening again. They would no longer be allowed to have men under arms. Men.
Oh! The Adeptus Sororitas! Oh my fucking god! I can't believe he found such a fucking loophole. Wait, that is actually really funny. Priest correcting G-Man about God is so funny. That is insane. Oh my god. That's why they all have white hair. Army on technicality. I kind of love that this was a legal loophole. Wait, that's so dumb. Okay, I'm sorry. It's so stupid that it's actually really funny. So that's why we have battle nuns? I'm dead. I'm actually deceased. Holy shit. This is so... It's so good, and it's so stupid. I love it. I'm sorry, guys. I really love it. Yeah, this is that one moment in Lord of the this is that one moment in Return of the King where it's like no man can kill me, and then like Eowyn like rips off her helmet and she's like, I am no man, and then just goes stab. Can I just okay, there's certain bits of the Warhammer universe that are so stupid that it loops back into being so ridiculously funny. I genuinely love that. I actually love that. Like, it's so stupid that it kind of loops back into being a fucking meme. And that's incredibly great. You know how, like, okay, you know how, like, some, like, hobbies, if you say that, like, the lore, bits of the lore is stupid, they get really, like, butthurt at you. They're like, no, it actually makes a ton of sense. You're just, like, you're just too much of a girl to understand why it's funny. I kind of love that, like, in Warhammer, everyone does agree, yeah, no, this is so dumb that it, like, it's so dumb that it's funny. I kind of love this for you guys. I kind of love this for all of us, actually.
The Adeptus Sororitas, or commonly known as the Sisters of Battle, the nuns with guns, the fighting force of the church. Despite being the main militant faction, the Sisters of Battle, their organization actually is far more diverse than this and have many more nun-based roles for their members. They are organized by various orders with various specialties in mind, such as the non-militant orders like the Hospitaller, Dialogus, and Familius, including things like helping with surgical equipment and various other medical stuff, Duolingo, and a poli-sci degree. These orders are further separated into smaller orders in an almost Space Marine chapter sense, but tend to have more flexibility due to the nature of their work. And in addition to that, there is flexibility between the orders. It is not uncommon for a member of one of the more battle-hardened orders to switch to a more passive one once they've sustained battlefield injuries or are a bit closer to retirement. As mentioned before, the Sisters of Battle are a part of their own separate organization, the Order's Militant, and feature the highest number of any given sister. They are the official fighting force of the Ecclesiarchy, and they specialize in wars of faith. Unlike the deployment of Astartes and Guardsmen, the Sisters of Battle are often deployed with members of the Inquisitorial Ordo Hereticus due to the holy war nature of their battles. The Sisters of Battle are suited up with their own form of specialized power armor that gives them almost like a Joan of Arc vibe to the battle.
You're so cool, though.
Though lacking the more extreme modifications of a Space Marine's power armor, mainly to the fact that Sisters are, for the most part, regular humans, the power armor of a Sister of Battle almost matches the defensive power of an Astartes. But
can I just say, I kind of hate how most of the Sisters of like battle art, right? It's always like some young hot girl in like Nundum armor, and then like a bunch of like old men. Like, where are the young hot men in this universe? Excuse me? Where are the young hot guys?
with added flexibility and versatility in exchange for strength. Some of the patterns of armor do allow for the enhancing of genetics, but this is far from the norm. This, combined with an arsenal of tanks and vehicles that have literal church organ rocket launchers on them, really brings across the holy war vibe in a Gothic manner. Accompanying a sister of battle in the fields of war is the holy trinity of weaponry: the bolter, the flamer, and the melta. With such a simple loadout, the Sisters of Battle are able to bring down the glorious flames of the Emperor himself, and his holy light shines on them in other ways during a conflict. Hell, even their jump packs evoke angelic imagery as opposed to the more clunky jetpacks ones that Space Marines have. In times of great turmoil or impossibility, a living saint of the Sororitas itself might appear on the battlefield surrounded by a litany of doves and cherubs, an almost comical scene of holy glory followed by literal hellfire. The Sisters are a fascinating organization because they take what is normally seen as a benevolent force and turn it on its head to be a horrifying method of war. Because the Sisters are so zealous, they are nigh impossible to persuade and almost never fall to chaos. In fact, any deviation from the Imperial faith may see you killed outright as you are deemed a heretic, and sometimes Sisters have even less patience than the Inquisition does.
Wait, this just reminds me of the Gav and Bob story, like number 2, where like she got turned into a servitor. No, now I'm sad again. What the fuck?
Adeptus Sororitas, no punishment is too extreme for blasphemy and heretical behavior. Whether it's lobotomizing traitors to use as shock troops or attaching them physically to agonizing pain engines so they can die for the Emperor.
I will moderate your Discord server is crazy, by the way. Stop. No, that is so that's insane. That's so funny. That is insane and very funny. Oh my god.
Anything goes. The most fascinating part of the Sisters, however, is their faith. We discussed how orcs often make things happen through belief because of their sheer number of them. The Sisters create miracles where they walk. They are not many psychers like orcs, but they are excessively devout and make up for that. Bullets barely miss targets they absolutely should hit. Guns jam, tanks malfunction, enemies slip and fall. The scene from Pulp Fiction is an accurate portrayal of what happens when the Sisters fight.
I'd knock that shit off if I was you. Die, you motherfucker!
Oh, what the hell?
One of the most prominent figures is the Triumph of St. Catherine, a literal open casket with the saint of a Sister's order held aloft by lobotomized servant cherubs and protected by bodyguards of the faithful. The devotion to the Emperor swells so strong that acts of faith are made manifest, and sometimes angels themselves. When the Sisters go to war, they have thundering organs and litanies screeching out into the battlefield, hymns and songs. They rabble off prayers on their lips and burn holy fire across the area. They spray holy water down from horns atop their vehicles. It is a genuine holy war, a procession of death. Saint Celestine is an undying deity, arriving precisely where she is needed and returning to the fold after each death. When she dies, she sees a crying young girl atop a mountain of bones. Her bones, after every one of her deaths. She climbs this mountain every time to help comfort this crying child and is rebirthed upon the battlefield. And one day, her deaths will create a mountain so large that even she will not be able to traverse it. Is she a demon of the God Emperor? Perhaps, but she'll be shot for saying so. She is genuinely and literally faith made manifest. Some Sisters may make a mistake, however, and find themselves questioning their faith, disobeying a command, even leaving their order. These Sisters are sent for reconditioning and are known as the Sisters Repentia. They generally face the front of the line head on and seek retribution and forgiveness from the Emperor himself. Though their actions were heretical, repentia on the fields of battle is an indication of an individual wanting to become forgiven. They run aloft with torture devices attached to their bodies and a chain sword the size of their body, completely armorless, to determine if this is how they die or if the Emperor will forgive them.
That makes sense somehow.
The most famous champion of the Sisters, that Saint Celestine, was a repentia. Even
Ooh.
she questioned her faith. And if she can do it, so can you. Just don't run away again. They don't really do third chances. The Sisters of Battle are martyrdom-enthused zealots that create miracles in their tread. Their devotion is boundless and also a direct source of their power. A whole army of power-armored soldiers shooting, burning, and melting all in their path is bad enough, but it enters a whole different level when God is on your side. By Bolter Shell, Flamer Burst, and Melta Blast, the mutant, the heretic, and the traitor alike are cleansed of their sin of existence. So has it been for 5 millennia, so shall it be until the end of time. The Imperium devolving into wars of faith is to push its agenda further. Where the xenophobic nature of humanity was once strong, it has now been magnified, and there are plenty of aliens in this galaxy. 6,000 years prior to the current events of 40K, a planet was found by an AdMech exploration vessel. The life forms on the planet were seen using tools, but they were still very primitive, so the planet was marked for destruction to pave the way for the Imperial war machine. However, this was thrown off because of an extreme warp storm and that whole Doge Van Dyer thing. Flash forward to modern day, and an unknown but highly advanced vessel was shot down near an Imperial mining world, and the bodies on this vessel matched those life forms found on that primitive world. The native creatures on that planet were able to evolve rapidly due to them being unobstructed, and their highly advanced gear posed a new threat to the Imperium. Advancing over these years with a remarkable speed, these are the new upstarts in the galaxy, looking to make a name for themselves, all in the name of the greater good. These are the
Tau Empire, let's go!
The alien is not intrinsically evil. Do not hate him. Pity him his ignorance. Seek to understand his differences and acquaint him with his inadequacies. Only then will he accept his place in the greater good. The early history of the Tau is chaotic at best. Due to their extreme speed run to space travel, their journey to the stars were overburdened with inner conflict.
Okay, are they more Star Wars or Gundam in your opinion? I don't know. I feel like troops are Star Wars, but the mechs are Gundam. No, I see that, yeah. I just thought that like the actual like suits, they look very like Star Wars to me. I don't know if they're like Gundam, but I feel like they're more like, you know, they rely on mech suits, so Gundam. The Alien Alliance weak communism? What? Wait. Are they communists? Wait, I'm confused. I know that like Warhammer has a ton of yes, we could call it adult themes. More armored core than gun. Actually, no, I see it. I see the armored core. It's space communism. Okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. That's a meme. Oh. You know, honestly, I feel like Warhammer deals with so many like IRL like memes and like stuff that I myself I can't quite tell, you know? I just can't quite tell.
It wasn't until the appearance of the Ethereals that things began to settle. These Tau to the warring tribes marked their unification under one common belief, the greater good of the Tau Va.
What about the greater good?
The greater good.
How can this be for the greater good?
The greater good.
This system is a caste-based system that seeks to unify and organize the Tau into an effective and successful society while working for their mutual benefit. These castes, in order from lowest to highest, are the Fire or Shas caste, which is soldiers, Earth/Theo, which is manufacturers and industrialists, the Water or Hor, being diplomats and traders, and the Air/Core, being Navy officers. Also, you have the Ethereal/Un, which is the lords and leaders of the Tau. Now, unlike the paths of the Eldar, the Tau don't get any say into which caste they're in. It's determined upon birth due to inheritance from a parent. Trying to deviate from your caste or trying to do tasks or even use tools assigned to another caste is a grievous crime against the Ethereals, and those guilty of this crime tend to be sent to re-education camps, which sounds not so greater good, but a greater good than the good that the Imperium sees as greater. The guidance of the greater good also encourages the growth of the Empire through the absorption of other races and cultures. The expansion of the Tau Empire is split into spheres of time. So far, there have been 5 spheres of expansion, with a 6th one being planned in the current timeline. The first 2 spheres saw the Tau move beyond their homeworld and settle new planetary systems, known as SEPs, and absorb multiple races into their ranks. But the 3rd sphere is where we see the Tau interact with the Imperium for the first time, which went about as well as you think it did. The Tau, as mentioned before, are highly advanced compared to some of the other species in the galaxy, and their military tactics are highly precise. Instead of the Imperial methodology of throwing everything at a problem, the Tau carefully assess any battle and take as many precautions as possible. Commonly, you will see a Tau warrior in a heavily modified battle suit with advanced targeting systems. The Tau do not often consider close combat to be something very effective, so they don't really put much stock into it. Their Gundam-like battle suits have a multitude of functionality, ranging from overwhelming firepower to stealth-based combat, and since they're an upstart species with a bit of technical flair, they have plenty of AI drones that help them in the field of battle. In addition to this, the Tau are also joined in the field of battle by some of the species that have been absorbed into the fold of the greater good. These are...
Can someone TLDR for me again? Why do people not like the Tau again? Why do people not like the Tau? I remember, but like, no, I don't remember why people don't like the Tau, but like, can someone like, you know, just TLDR for me? They're kind of annoying tabletop rules. It's just meme? It's not Grimdark. They used to be OP in the tabletop. Oh, okay. So it's more that they were annoying in the tabletop than like the fact that they're not Grimdark enough. It's both too OP and too boring to fight on tabletop. I see. Okay, they were unbalanced, annoying to play against. They're too nice for Warhammer. Okay, that was why you guys didn't like them. It was both. Okay. They tried to negotiate, befriend the Drukhari. That's not very on theme and not great lore. Is it better now? Are the Tau like a little bit more liked now? I'm asking because I don't play the tabletop, so I have no idea. Are they more liked now, or are they still like, it's getting better? Okay. Oh, okay, so the lore is better. I'm a Tau player. I'm not gonna hate on people for playing what they like, but yeah. They're becoming more anti-human. I already see some people saying Tau GF. Chat, don't, not the Tau GF, guys. Not the Tau GF. Then they make fun of that in the TTS. No, they did. The whole Tau GF thing. Yeah, Farsight is good. It's kind of showing the Tau leaders are bad, but you have good Tau out there. See, okay, so I'm approaching this in a very neutral standpoint, mainly because I don't know enough to form like a decision, right? So yeah. I think that's like generally my opinion when it comes to the Tau. I don't know enough to make them, you know, like, to make a informed opinion on whether or not I like them. Yeah, I mean, I dig the giant robots. I do. But then again, I mean, I don't know, guys. I have the taintism, so I like anything that's like... I like that kind of stuff, so, you know, maybe I'm just also very biased. Who knows? Oh, man. I mean, okay, there's just something about mech suits that make me really happy. But then again, I also like Kamen Rider, so, you know, maybe it's not the mech suits. Maybe I just don't know what I like. It's most tank to... The Baneblade is the most tank to ever tank among tanks. Okay, wait. I want to go look up the Baneblade real quick. Baneblade. It's so cute! I love it! Wait, I like it! I want one. What the heck? Oh my god. I want to get one so I can paint it like pink. And then I'll put like the Glitchstars like logos on it. That's so cute! Okay, I do like it very much. You're absolutely right. It's so cute! Oh my god, and if I get one, I want a Cadian just like peeking out of it. I really like it. 12 barrels, by the way. Yo, that's a fucking beast right there. You're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I don't know. I think these are these should be lights, right? I don't. Is there another angle? Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it's so nice. I like it. What the heck? Stop! This one's so cute. I love this one. He's such a guy. No, he's so nice. I love him. Wait, man, these are so cute though. What the heck? Wait. Okay. I want this one. This one I want. I want this one like really bad. I don't know why the picture's not loading very well, but oh my god, I love him. Oh, this one's so cute. He's so baby. He's so baby. I love him. Okay, I don't know if I like this one nearly as much though. I think this is way cuter. The Baneblade is way cuter. This one does not spark joy for me. That one doesn't spark joy. This one sparks joy. This one sparks a ton of joy. This one also sparks joy. This too also sparks joy. This one makes me very happy. I like that there's just a little guy's head just peeking out. You guys can't see because my head's in the way. But there's just a little guy. Oh my god. I don't know if I like this one. It's just very square to me. This one low-key looks like an octopus, and I kind of fuck with that, but I don't know if I like it nearly as much as I like the Baneblade. I still think the Baneblade is like really like up there for me. And the Rogel Dorn tank. I like the Rogel Dorn tank too, very much. But yeah. I like the Baneblade so much. The Lehman Russ is also very cute to me. I don't know. There's just something about... Oh my god, wait, what is this? Wait, I'll open the image in a new tab, guys. Lehman Russ. The cooler Lehman Russ. Wait, no, stop. The cooler Lehman Russ is cooler. What is this, though, guys? Is this, like, a new one? Oh, the one that I didn't like wasn't? Ah, okay. The one that looked like an octopus was World War II. Oh, he has glasses? Oh. So is this the 40k and this is 30k, or is it backward? I like this one. I like the fact that it has like one of those like the like pointy bits, right? That way, like, you know, if people come close, they just get stabbed. Oh, that means we probably can't get this one then without like selling, I don't know, like an arm and a leg and like a kidney. Yeah, can I be real? I still don't know. I think maybe if I ever play Warhammer, right? If I ever play Warhammer, I play Warhammer. But I have like a very basic army just for the sake of playing. But when it comes to like actual like figures and whatnot, I do it more for painting. No, the 30k ones are the cheapest. Are they really? Wait, oh my god! So I can like, so I don't have to sell a kidney then. This one's actually kind of sick. But it would be so funny if it was just like a rando like a Primarch's head over here. Yeah, honestly, I buy these just to paint and like store because I think they're really cool. And if I ever took them out and dropped them, because I am very clumsy, I would have a heart attack. Probably. I like the tanks. They're so cool. Oh, wait, this one's also very... Wait. Is this a Tau one? Is this a Tau? Is this Tau? No. Is it? Wait, I can't tell. Space Marine? Oh. Okay, I can't tell whose symbol that is. There's like a symbol on the side, but I can't tell who it is yet. It's only illegal if you get caught. I'm not selling anyone's fucking like kidneys, bro. Come on, man. We gotta be Blood Angels. Oh, right. Tau's probably like white. But this one's also very cool. See, if you guys didn't know, I am hyper fixated and I only recognize Cadians and Rogaldorn. And that's it. Cyclops demolition vehicle. Let me see. Okay. Wait, this one's so cute. What the heck? Stop, he's just a little guy. Wait, he's just a little guy. I love it. Oh my god. This is so cute. I'm so happy right now. Wait, I love this one. This one's really cool though with the missiles at the back. I like this one very much with the missiles. No, he's just a little guy. Oh man, oh my god. It's my favorite, the Katakan fighters. If you guys didn't know, I do love the Catacan troops very much because I like the fact that they're just like random, like they're just rando guys in this fucking universe where everything is like, where there's demons. There's like a billion fucking demons and they're just guys. Oh my god, I love it! No! The Catacan Lehman Russ! No! I love it so much! You're a big Rambo fan? No. I wouldn't say I'm a big Rambo fan. I think I'm more of a... I'm a bigger, shoot, what's it called? You guys remember the game? Where, the main guy was called, like, Lance Bean or something, and the other one is, Lance Bean and, fuck, what is it called? Contra. I'm a bigger Contra fan. And I love the fact that it's basically the dudes from Contra living in the world of 40k. Yeah, I fucking love Contra, dude. This is that, it's such a cursed thing to say. Check out the Imperial Titans, they dwarf even the Knights. I know what they are, and I know how big they are, but I don't think I'll ever buy one, like I said, because I probably won't have the space for it. But this, it's so cute though, I like it. I like them very much. I know they're basically houses on like, with like fucking lakes, right? But it's so big, I don't think I'd ever want to own one. Because this is some shit that I'd have to buy like a display case for, right? There is just a picture. Oh my gosh, hold up. Can I move myself? Let me see. Let me move myself real quick. I don't know if you guys can see this. But I don't really want to dox it anyways. It's basically a picture of like the Warlord Titan with a baby next to it. Yeah, this is like some display case stuff. Look up Joy Toy Knights. I don't want to look up Joy Toy stuff. I know exactly what you're talking about, but Joy Toy stuff makes me want to buy, and I need to protect my wallet. I'm going to America in like 2 weeks. 3 weeks? And I gotta protect my wallet now. No more looking, guys. We can't do it anymore. I'm poor. Somebody in the chat slap me and tell me I'm poor. Tell me I'm poor. Tell me I'm poor and I cannot afford to buy tanks. Also, one of my friends asked me if I wanted to ride a tank while in America. I said yeah. So I'll let you guys know. I'll let you guys know. I'll let you guys know if I have fun in a tank. Oh man, I fucking love tanks, bro. This is so bad. My TISM has been activated. Oh my god. Guys, this is why even though we live stream the reacts, they still get turned into videos because we always go off topic. So if you guys like the off topic yapping, watch the live streams. If you guys want actual reactions to the video, watch the videos. It's basically the same content but light. That's it.
Auxiliaries often employ tactics that the Tau are unable to do on their end, such as the brute force and almost primitive nature of the Kroot, combined with the Geonosian aerial shock attack style of the Vespens. But the Tau assimilate more and more species with time, including even some humans who wish to break off from the Imperium for pick a reason. The aesthetic of the Tau also leans a bit more into the East Asian sci-fi aesthetics. The large mech suits definitely evoke that Gundam look, but the general garb of their higher-ups kind of create that motif, and they often have accents in the games that they are in. But while Tau are looked at as Gundam mech faction by some, others enjoy them for the full coalition of aliens. One of my favorite images in Warhammer is this official artwork by Games Workshop. Now, not a single one of these aliens are a faction in Warhammer, and yet they all are different species that do exist in this universe. The Milky Way galaxy is vast, and while the Imperium and many others exterminate what they can find, the Tau will assimilate those that can be assimilated. The Kroot and Vespens we already discussed, and the humans and also Votann will join them at times, but you also have the Galg, the Nigasar, the Vorg, the Thraxian, the Terrellian, Greet, Domati, and many others. Some of these are just one-off lines, and some are major players in the civilization. The Nigasar are, for lack of a better word, gigantic psychic polar bears with bird-like faces. The Tau have psychic bears.
Right!
And the fact I haven't seen this is a crime. The Tau as a culture are generally marred by the various issues that an advanced civilization would have in...
Right! Aren't they in the new one? Not Rogue Trader, but the other one? Is that not it? Wait, no. I remember there's like a Tau, like a sniper guy that's in the. It's not Rogue Trader. I don't remember what it's called, but it's similar to Rogue Trader. Crude. Is that the Psychic Owlbear or is that different? No, different. Dark Heresy. Okay. Wait, I want Psychic. Okay, hold up. If they drop Psychic Owlbears, guys, I'm sorry. The Tau are gonna be like a favorite for me. I just want Psychic Owlbears. I think that's very cool. I think it's very funny.
An unadvanced galaxy. They do not travel through the warp because of the insane dangers, but
Yeah,
instead
don't
use a
do
more
that.
classic FTL jump.
Ooh.
However, because they aren't going through hell, it makes them a lot slower than many other races. The
No.
Imperium might surf through hell and lose a few ships, but they will get there first. Often they will take enormous cannons and weaponry and defeat their foes before they can even close the gap. One of their light walkers carried a weapon of lethal effect. It fired a form of ultra-high velocity projectile. I saw one of our tanks after being hit by it. There was a small hole punched in either flank. One, the projectile's entry point, the other its exit. The tiny munition had passed through the vehicle with such speed that everything within the hole not welded down had been sucked out through the exit hole, including the crew. We never identified their bodies, for all that remained of them was a red stain upon the ground, extending some 20 meters from the wreck. The fascination of the Tau is that in any other modern day world, their society would be horrid. Rigid caste systems, corruption, and politicking ethereals, and basically it's the greater good or nothing at all. But in the world of Warhammer, the simple fact that humans are accepted into their sphere should they please already puts them far and above the other races that would murder or eat them. But despite this, the existential dread that is the Tau Empire is ever so apparent. Despite being hyper advanced and welcoming a coalition of aliens, they are the upstarts, and they are painfully outnumbered on all sides. Almost any other faction in the universe, given the right amount of force, can wipe out the Tau Empire from existence. They themselves might not be perfect, but their slight glimmer of hope is exactly that, a glimmer in a dark and crushing galaxy. Of course, nobody dares take the attempt to destroy the Tau Empire, because doing so is an enormous amount of resources, and for the same reason why you don't full send your whole army to one person in a commander game of Magic. You open yourself up to player 2 and 3. But not to say it won't be a struggle. The Tau Empire, when prepared, are a vicious fighting force who might delete your formation before you even see them. But they lack numbers, and in the dark corners of the galaxy, something is coming that is entirely numbers.
Yeah, Tyranids, baby! Tyranids, my
There
god!
is a cancer eating at the Imperium. With each decade, it advances deeper, leaving drained, dead worlds in its wake. This horror, this abomination, has thought and purpose that functions on an unimaginable galactic scale, and all we can try to do is stop the swarms of bioengineer monsters it unleashes upon us by instinct. We have given the horror a name to salve our fears. We call it the Tyrannid race. But if it is aware of us at all, it must only know us as prey. The conflicts of Warhammer 40k are chaotic enough with the sheer volume of violence that exists in the confines of the Milky Way. However, there is a threat to the galaxy that extends beyond our known galaxy that is creeping ever closer and cannot be negotiated with. What drew them to the galaxy is unclear. It may have been the light of the Astronomicon itself, like a moth to a flame. It could have been a Xenos device detonated in the Horus Heresy. It could have been that they were done eating the Andromeda galaxy and they have come to take ours, or they might be running from something far, far worse. Regardless of the why, the where, when it came to the first official contact with these creatures, was the planet of Tyran. This is the site where the Imperium encountered a fleet of these creatures before being utterly torn to shreds. Thus, these creatures became known as the Tyranids. There is plenty of evidence that the Tyranids have been lurking in our galaxy for years beforehand, but this was the first true instance of their presence being fully known. Unlike other creatures in the realm of 40k that can be talked to, captured, or negotiated with, the Tyranids are unable to be reasoned with. They are, at their core, animals, but not the fun kind of animals. They are the xenomorphs of 40k, and boy are they hungry. They are
But I
instinctively
love that for
hardwired
them.
to either kill or be killed, and they are an unrelenting force due to this. However, just because they don't talk outwardly doesn't mean they don't communicate with one another. The true horror of the Tyrannids is found in their driving force, the hive mind.
3, 2, 1.
Hot in here by Nelly.
That's what I guessed.
What?
Oh my gosh.
You see, the Tyrannids are a collective consciousness that are all connected to a singular embodiment of psychic power that is
Can I be real? I really like Tyrannids. And I know you guys probably thinking like, oh, that's kind of weird. Like, why Tyrannids? I think that like the entire concept of Tyrannids makes so much sense in this universe that I instinctively, like, not instinctively, but I just really lean towards them as like a faction that I do enjoy. Play StarCraft? I did not play StarCraft. I did not. I did not. But I do really like the Tyrannids. I think that like in this universe, they make way too much sense. The bugs, understandable, have a nice day. Do I want to make pink sparkly bugs? Absolutely. We will be painting the bugs pink and they will sparkle. They're just hinky boys. If you like mukbang, this is straight up your army. They're Zergs. They are Zergs. But I like them though. I just think they make so much sense. They just make too much sense. That's it.
It is utterly incomprehensible to the human mind. To keep this connection there, the Tyrannids on the field of battle are followed around by synapse creatures, essentially serving as their Bluetooth connection to the greater hive mind. This allows them to send and receive information about the battle they're in, and it also allows them to adapt to certain situations based off of the information gained. Depending on the enemy, the swarm might be able to develop a new weapon or new tactics so they can get the upper hand. When the synapse connection is cut, they are unable to essentially form a save state and are stranded. The sheer power of the hive mind presence pours from each Tyrannid in such a manner that it causes a distortion in the warp itself. A hive fleet's arrival can cause a dark shadow the size of several light years, coined the shadow in the warp. This shadow prevents any usage of the warp, or at least makes it exceptionally difficult. Communications shut down due to astropaths being unable to talk. Ships cannot freely enter the warp, and even creatures with a warp sensitivity feel an immense dread due to it. It causes everything to just kind of sit dead, like at a buffet counter waiting for the afternoon meal rush. The Tyrannids meander through the galaxy in these gigantic hive fleets that are fueled by bioships, and these ships contain birthing pools for Tyrannid armies and more ships. Everything about the Tyrannids is organic, and to fuel this war machine, the Tyrannids consume any and all biomass they come across and absorb it into their respective hive. From the ground to literally the air, the Tyrannids strip a planet to a lifeless and uninhabitable hulk. As a means to curb the advancement of the Tyrannids, the Imperium has been known to preemptively exterminatus worlds in the path of a hive fleet so that they have less biomass to consume in an attempt to starve them. The Halo method, literally scorched earth tactics by taking everything out of the freezer and lighting it on fire. Outside of the obvious threat and adaptive and unreasonable enemy posed on the field of battle, the most dangerous aspect of the Tyrannids comes in the form of their general unpredictability. The Tyrannids are external to the Milky Way galaxy itself, and it's unknown where they truly hail from. However, their arrival in the Milky Way is seemingly random and in 3D space, implying—
Guys, I've decided I'm gonna paint a Tyrannid pink and I'm gonna dump like glitter on it so it's like so he's not just pink but he's also like sparkly. It's gonna be very cute. It's actually gonna be very, very, very cute. Yeah, I want a pink knit that has like that's just glittery. That's just like really like glittery, like a sugar cookie. I think that would be really funny. Oh my god, what if we just painted like Tyrannids but like ice cream cookie colors? That'd be really cute.
And quite heavily that Tyrannids have the galaxy surrounded in some kind of way. Due to this, you will sometimes see instances of species engaged in a separate conflict, both agree to a temporary truce in order to take out a Tyrannid threat. Because regardless of the stakes at hand, the existence of the Tyrannids marks the heat death of the galaxy itself, and all the factions can ultimately agree that the Tyrannids themselves act as the biggest threat to all of them. The Tyrannid race is truly an unknowable horde, and pulls from that horror of the unknown. They, as a faction, are not ones with a large amount of general lore because their entire race is told from the point of view of those being eaten by them. Tyranids are called that due to the planet Tyran they destroyed, as we mentioned earlier, and their names are often phrases given to them by their victims. The Swarm Lord, Old One-Eye, the Death Leaper, Von Ryan's Leapers, and so on.
I just want to say, whoever gave them those nicknames have like more self-control than I would, because if I had to name a Tyrannid that I lost to, I'd be like, yeah, that one is fuckface. That one's a bitch, you know? Doesn't matter how glittery and pink they are, I'd be like, yeah, that one's a fucker, you know? You guys remember when I think it was like Pokemon, like what is the Crystal? Crystal was came out at the same time as like what? I don't remember. But you were allowed to like name your opponents back when like Pokemon let you name your rivals, and you'd always like name them something like really fucking terrible. That's me. Yeah, that one's your mom. Right? Like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, I would 100% be like, oh, that one's a mega bitch. That one's your mom. That one's, you know, it's okay. Let's not be mean to the Tyranids. I like them. I do. I like them very much.
Despite the inability to even perceive the vast psychic hive mind of the Tyranids, they are fiercely intelligent. Special poisons and items designed to counter them are adapted in a matter of hours. If you bring light infantry, they create heavy monsters. If you brought weapon emplacements, they spawn little creatures to scour your vents and sewers. Many of you enjoyed the Servitor excerpt from part 1, and so bear with me as I provide you another very long account of a planetary governor whose planet is in the final death throes of the Tyranid menace. This starts about halfway through. It has been many weeks since a handful of us escaped the sinking of the Seafort Divine Anchor via airlift. We have escaped in this manner because the Tyranids had overwhelmed so much of our world, they no longer appeared to need to continue spawning beasts for aerial supremacy. I shall never forget what I saw from my craft's portholes. Alien biostructures dominated Huto's surface. Gigantic, lumpen barnacles pumped out clouds of matter to further poison the planet alongside pulsating, brain-like nodes that resembled lethal fungi. Immense capillary towers stretched high in the poison sky. The glistening chitin coating their flanks crawled over by chains of lesser beasts fulfilling some sick alien purpose I cannot know. Digestion pools spread for miles, replacing our once great lakes with reservoirs of bubbling biomatter. Tides of creatures bloated with consumed flesh vomited their guts into the pools or threw themselves entirely into the billowous liquid.
Damn!
Amidst the seas of feeder beasts consuming all in their path, we would every so often see an explosion or a burst of fire. Were these heroic final stands by other survivors or merely abandoned ordnance detonating at random? I will never know. I cannot rejoice in the deaths they inflicted. The biomatter of the dead Xenos was surely recycled by the Xenos regardless in no time at all. Our aircraft ran out of fuel a week ago. Now I stand in the snow, not far from the peak of Mont Saint Hilaire. I am the only one left that I know. One by one, those with me perished. The slightest cut on a mountain rock resulted in an immediate infection that left the pilot screaming in agony. Her co-pilot fired the shot that ended her torture, and my senior aide threw himself from a ledge. The reality that there was no escape hitting him. I have no idea what happened to my chief medicae. Others were slain by lone beasts the rest of us were unable to kill or drive away. A justly deserved end will soon be mine. I have failed on every possible level. We were not even able to send word. An alien disease has me within its grasp. My limbs are numb, my tongue is dry as sand, my head throbs. Even at these chilled heights, I sweat profusely. From here where I sit, I can see the final death unfold on the planet entrusted to me. Before me is the Radarin Ocean. The water level is visibly dropping, hour by hour. They are even taking our seas. There are enormous beasts with great, slowly flapping wings and immense open maws moving through the sky. I may be at high altitude, but the air is thinner here than it should be. I know enough of mountaineering to know that. They will not even leave our air. There is an isthmus I can see, upon which is sat one of the Xenos capillary towers. Now I believe I can tell what they are truly for. High up, foul Xenos bioships cling to their flanks like twisted calves at their mother's udders. They are feasting, I am sure, hungrily filling themselves to burst on the hideous gruels that are what remains of my people. I have witnessed the planet's death from sinister start to hideous conclusion. I see the power of our foe, and though I have shown boundless weakness these past months, I do not see how we could ever have won. If this is any sort of good news, it seems that one thing that might be an inadvertent repellent effect on the Tyranids is chaos. Chaos and chaotic energies offer no nourishment to the Tyranids. They cannot eat that. And the presence of rifts and warp storms work as a means to starve out the Tyranid fleet. The Tyranids, of course, are attempting to adapt to this, but it seems that even at the most primal core of the galaxy itself, Chaos agrees that these dinner guests are not welcome in any way, shape, or bioform. In the end, though, the Tyranids represent the final fears of the galaxy itself. Despite the goals to conquer the galaxy as a whole, the remainder of the universe may very well be dead and derelict space. Instead of endless worlds and solar systems, it may just be bones and ash. The tendrils of the hive mind have wrapped themselves around the galaxy, and the only thing that's guaranteed is that dinner is served. However, the Tyranids are not simply the unending hordes of bugs. Beyond the more general buffet tactics of the force of the Tyranids, the hive mind has a more secretive and dangerous means of planetary conquest in the form of something a bit more terrestrial. General upheaval and revolution. However, though the idea of a societal revolt for the good of the populace is an admirable thing, these leaders have the nefarious intent of the hive mind itself. These are the downtrodden and the oppressed, the revolutionaries to a better cause, the heralds of the Star Children. These are the
Genestealer Cults.
In the sunless body of our hive, the flock of the faithful grows. We are guided by our great Father's sacred vision, protected by his loving hands. Within these holy shadows we dwell, while the impure bathe in spire-topped starlight. And what lies between those stars? What sails beyond those distant suns? Shrouded in night, born within that eternal black, our redeemers, our gods, truer than the silent, long-dead emperor, the children of the void. We hear them in our dreams, we feel them in our blood. They call and we will answer. We will rise and claim the engines of labor that have bound us in servitude. This world will burn. It will be cleansed, purified, made ready, and the heavens will deliver our reward. The ground zero of a Genestealer cult comes in the form of the Genestealer itself. Deep in the depths of a planet, a Genestealer acts as almost an advanced recon unit for the Tyranids, and were the first Tyranid units encountered by the Imperium itself long before the first Hive Fleet made its presence known. Unlike the Tyranids that can only reproduce through the birthing pools in the fleet, a Genestealer reproduces via the Big Smooch. The Genestealer kiss is essentially what the facehugger alien does. It attaches to a victim and releases an embryo. However, instead of a chest burster, the embryo alters the genetic makeup of the host itself, turning it into the primary conductor of a localized version of the hive mind known as the brood mind. Any offspring that this host produces is known as a Genestealer hybrid, and the host assures their survival to continue to reproduce. The first few generations of a Genestealer hybrid look more like the Genestealer itself, which in our current reality would be terrifying. But considering how the vast majority of humanity is a little mutated in 40K, it doesn't stand out as much as it should. As the generations continue, the mutations and the general alien look is almost entirely phased out, and the resulting hybrids look almost identical to the species that they once were. Due to the size of most worlds, the makings of a Genestealer cult can exist almost entirely in secret, generation after generation. After a certain period of time, those hybrids will make their way into generalized society, still connected to the mind of the Genestealer itself, itself, the hybrids operate with the express goal of gaining power within society itself in a political and religious sense. Most of the time, they will present themselves as revolutionaries, looking for the betterment of the population. And honestly, it sounds great for a lot of the folks on the planet. By the people, for the people. As they expand more openly, the crossbreeding continues until all aspects of the planet's society is infiltrated. However, all bets are off when a hive fleet comes close enough. When a Tyranid hive fleet gets close enough to a planet, the broodmine activates essentially an endgame scenario. The once political and religious leaders become bloodthirsty fanatics that work to finalize the collapse of society and the death of those who oppose them. But to those in the broodmine, the god they believe in is coming, and this is holy justice and vindication for their religious and political beliefs. As the hive arrives, the planet is essentially ripe for the taking. The original Genestealer pieces out to the next world or is reabsorbed for deployment elsewhere, and the Tyranids begin to take the planet for themselves. The cultists sing praises and holy songs as the Tyranids begin to eat everything up in kind of a meet the pyro sense of religious delusion. But as they are harvested, some of them are snapped back to reality, oops, there goes gravity, before they are thrown into the biomass soup. For a fleeting second, they see that this was all a ruse to consume the world and that their false gods were a bunch of hungry bugs.
Guys, I don't know if I like Genestealer Cults. I think I'm scared. I'm scared of the Genestealers. I think like that this is the one that I would probably like draw the line at. Like I'm scared of it. You know, I'm not a Genestealer. I think this one is scary. This one is really, really scary. That's what a Genestealer would say. What the fuck? No, but somehow you like the Tyranids. I think the Tyranids, like, I don't know. I feel like the Genestealers are like certain levels of scary above Tyranids. Tyranids are just like, I'm gonna eat, right? That dude look like I got a big ass hit because I be knowing. He do be knowing though. He has like a staff and everything. He do be knowing. But I don't know. What if they were pink? No, I don't want them to be pink. That's also scary.
The cultists essentially put the checkerboard dining cloth on the table for them and invited them for a feast. Due to the constant redeployment of Genestealers, there are known cults that pop up across the Imperium itself. Some of the more well-known ones are the Cult of the Bladed Cog or the Rusted Claw, but there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different cults that keep popping up all over the galaxy as the Genestealers spread. And due to their covert means taking over the planet, they are not generally viewed to be a threat until it is far too late. And due to the know-how of Genestealers, they tend to be predatory to those in the lower classes of a given planet. The Genestealer cults overall have really come into their own, commercially and artistically. They have very much embraced the revolutionaries aesthetic and crafted a fascinating method in doing so. It's this great combination of this pseudo-Marxist Bolshevik uprising mixed with the hills have eyes in the populace. What's particularly enjoyable about their uprising is that often from their point of view, the reasons they have are extremely justified. Most of the members of the GSC are the extremely impoverished and menial laborers of the Imperium, who honestly wouldn't need an alien presence to provide a
That scared the fuck out of me. I thought something like disconnected on my PC. I got really scared. This scared the fuck. I thought something disconnected. I was like, no. The bugs keep telling me to short the Bible. I don't know, but I don't fucking know what either of those things mean. No.
A manifesto on reasons to revolt. Their weapons are all makeshift and often involve things like mining lasers, drilling saws, demolition charges, giant stop signs. Their political machinations work quite well, as the cult ends up being really good at assassination, especially when you have a third arm holding a pistol beneath all those robes. They're a faction rife with fascination and culture, and their plans are generations in the making, to the end goal of being thrown right back into the soup by the star children they prepared the world for. And those are the threats to the galaxy now. The degradation of almost every species is now behest by the Tyranid menace, and all of the infighting between each and every single one of them will be their undoing. The world of Warhammer is a bleak and horrendous one. And that is in its own right the charm. It is so large, so vast, so absolutely horrendous and insane, and yet is treated with 100% severity and seriousness. In the beginning of part 1, I gave you an abridged and different opening to the Warhammer world, the grim darkness of the far future, and I leave you with this part 2 with the full quote itself.
Okay,
it is
I'm ready.
The 41st millennia. For more than 100 centuries, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods, and master of 1,000,000 worlds by the might of his inexhaustible armies. He is a rotting carcass, writhing invisibly with power from the dark age of technology.
Damn.
He is the carrion lord of the Imperium, for whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day so that he may never truly die. Yet even in his deathless state, the Emperor continues his eternal vigilance. Mighty battle fleets across the demon-infested miasma of the warp, the only route between distant stars, their way lit by the Astronomicon, the psychic manifestation of the Emperor's will. Vast armies give battle in his name on uncounted worlds. Greatest amongst his soldiers are the Adeptus Astartes, the Space Marines, bioengineered super warriors. Their comrades in arms are Legion, the Imperial Guard, and countless planetary defense forces, the ever-vigilant Inquisition, and the tech priests of the Adeptus Mechanicus, to name only a few. But for all their multitudes, they are barely enough to hold off the ever-present threat from aliens, heretics, mutants, and worse. To be a man in such times is to be one amongst untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable. These are the tales of those times. Forget the power of technology and science, for so much has been forgotten, never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding, for in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter and the laughter of thirsting gods. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
That was such a good video though, holy shit. No, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. But also, that was such a good video. That ending quote hit hard. It hit really hard. Holy shit. Clapping, guys. Clap, 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 clap. Patchy, 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 patchy. Oh my god, that was so good. I really enjoyed it.